The podcast is back. Welcome to Tasler Guide Service. Join along as my guests and I dive into our outdoor adventures, share some laughs, and of course a few beers. A new episode will be released every other Friday at 5 a.m. I hope you guys have as much fun watching as we did making it. Yeah, I'm trying to upgrade a little bit, make everything more comfortable and more streamlined, so I'm just kind of leave it set up.
Yeah.
But at 11:30 last night, I realized this may not be the ticket. We'll have to go back to the drawing board. But my other desk, I mean, you were on one.
Yep.
And that little black desk I had was all right, but it wasn't ideal when you have 4 people or more.
I think this idea is pretty cool.
It's
just
kinda,
you just need to tweak it a little.
I do. I like I said, I think if I get individual tables for the actual mics, like little stools or something, I think it'll work better. That way we don't have to be so close together and whatnot.
It's kind of like sitting in a boat.
It kind of is. And I am going to start doing more of that on location podcasts. Oh, my mic was off. So that'll work. But I did one on location podcast, and I think it turned out pretty cool. So I'm going to try and do that a little more often.
Even got on a flathead too, I believe.
Yeah. He came all the way from Kentucky, which I've fished with him before. He's came up last year, and he's kind of got his own YouTube channel as well, where his goal is to catch a fish in all 50 states. And I think in the last year he's done like 27.
Wow,
that's awesome.
That's pretty good.
So, yeah. So I think it was 27. Then he came down and caught a 27-pound flathead. So it turned out pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
Catching a flathead in every state.
There's a father's son, 2 sons, I believe, 3 sons, and they're going around in every legal state that you can. Noodling?
Yeah.
Every legal state you can noodle, they're going around and they're noodling.
Really?
Yeah, and these 2 kids, I think one's like 8, and the other one's like 11.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool to see.
That is pretty cool.
That's some pretty big balls for them little kids.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't do it. There's no way.
They do competitions too, and one of them I saw the one youngest kid, he got like a state record noodle for a tournament, I guess, or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, it was something like that.
How does an 8-year-old handle a green flag?
It was like a 46, 48 pounder.
Jeez.
It was as big as he was practically.
Yeah.
So.
That's nuts. Because you think, a grown man, it grabs him up to the elbow.
Yeah.
It'd grab him up to the
Shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be a fight of a lifetime. Right
That flathead burns clear up with one down in one arm.
Yeah, the one video I watched, he lost control of the fish, and it started swimming away towards shallow water, and they were only in like 2-3 feet of water. Yeah. So it basically beached itself, and he just kind of bear hugged it and jumped on it. It was pretty cool.
That's funny.
That's awesome. Do they have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I don't remember what the name of it is, but it's on there. It's out there on YouTube. It's a father and 2 or 3 sons, I believe, and they go around to each state.
That's cool. When Spencer and I first started this, back when it was River certified on Spotify and all that, we interviewed 2 college kids. It was during COVID.
Yep.
And they took the COVID year, and they just traveled, and they caught the state fish in all 50 states.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was their, I don't know, time off. little adventure, so it was pretty cool. But we did it over Skype, and the footage didn't turn out. We had to junk it.
I'd like to see the results of how big of a flathead they catch in every state.
Well, he doesn't just fish for flathead,
right.
But in Iowa he did.
Right.
Like he's got a place down in Texas that he caught redfish and big frickin' barn door drum and saltwater drum, and so he just kind of goes everywhere and fishes what he can fish.
I'd want to catch an alligator gar down in Texas if I went down there.
Yeah, I definitely would.
That'd be fun.
I'm going to someday. Definitely.
Maybe even from a small kayak or something.
Yeah. Yeah. The more I travel, the more I would just want to travel with a kayak.
Yeah.
Like I took my boat to Wisconsin last weekend, and it's stressful. You got to worry about tires. You got to worry about bearings. You got to worry about, your lights working properly. it's just a lot of freaking stress versus just throwing a kayak in the back of your truck and going.
Right.
That's a lot more relaxing to me. But we saw a lot of river. I mean, we went a long ways, so that definitely was a huge advantage.
Can't do that on a kayak.
You cannot. Not without proper planning.
No.
For sure. You've been kayaking the crap out of the river, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been out there a little bit, but you know, when you get a unplanned vacation from your employer in the middle of the summer, you're just like, well, I guess I'm gonna take advantage of this while I can, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
We got little Rory on my lap here. She's kind of getting caught up in the microphone cord, but
you know, when he fired me, I wasn't too upset about it. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, because you know, I believe that everything happens for a reason in life, and there's other jobs out there.
And your reason was catching flathead. Because you went on a tear there for a while.
I did. I had a good little run, and it was time well spent. I went out a lot on my own this year and did some things that I haven't done before, and learned some new stuff and tried some new things, and it produced. And
that's awesome.
It's been a pretty fun year.
It's been challenging for me. Pre-spawn, I was so frustrated I about shut my guide service down for the year. I mean, I canceled a couple trips because I just wasn't consistently putting fish in the boat, and I didn't want to take people's money for not catching fish.
Yeah.
So I canceled a couple trips, and then August started rolling around. They started coming back alive. So I kept the rest of my trips for this year. And I've been doing well lately, but this early, it was humbling. I was pissed.
You weren't alone. That first month, I struggled. I mean, I went out for probably 3.5 weeks before I saw a flathead.
Yeah.
And even then, it was still a slow bite. I think because of the inconsistencies in the weather this summer, I think that might have had something to do with the spawn kind of being weird.
It was weird. It was almost like a month early, what I consider spawn time. Anyway.
Right. I think and some were even... When I thought the spawn was over, I saw a couple that still had spawn marks. So I think it was just an inconsistent spawn. And I think the fish were just, you'd hit one here or there, and sometimes you wouldn't. And it was weird.
And we had high water for about 2 weeks.
Which was
there
nice.
In April.
Which was nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It just kind of flushed everything out. But then the drain got pulled again, and now we're in no water whatsoever.
No.
I'm back to driving an hour and a half just to run a guide trip because there's no water around here.
Yeah.
But it was nice that in the spring at least everything got washed down, so we got a clean slate. But it's still rough. You know, low water, hot temperature. This week's been over 100 degrees the last 4 days.
Yep.
Yeah.
And even at night, last night at like 9:30 it was still 90 some degrees. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the overnight low was 79 last night.
Yeah.
Which, if you're camping on a sandbar, I mean, you're
awesome.
pretty much just laying on a cot, and it's not that bad, but you better get off that river early in the morning, because by, I think, 9 a.m. this morning, it was 100-degree heat index.
Jeez. Yeah,
so,
it was horrible.
And these are my Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are my days off. I was going to plan on going out on camping out for some flatheads, but when I saw the weather, I'm like, I think we'll just take a break this week.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's the last of the high 90s. I think it's supposed to drop for this weekend. So that'll be awesome. But yeah, I went out. Well, I guess Wisconsin was my last trip, and we put a shellacking on them one night. We tried a river that was crystal clear on Friday. Struggled. We got a few fish, but no flatheads. And then we went to a bigger river on Saturday that was more what we were used to fishing, the strategies. And we got 2 flathead and like 6 or 7 or 8 channel cat. Now the flathead, the biggest one was only 25, but it was nice to put a couple in the boat. And then the channel cat made up for it because they were monsters.
You say only 25, but in my mind, a 25-pounder here is a nice fish.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I
But
mean,
when you go on a trip, you're expected, bigger than what you could catch at home.
Yeah.
So
I would have been happy with a 25.
I mean, the reason why I say that is because I've caught this year, the majority of my flatheads, they've been from 20 to 25 pounds.
Yeah, and that's Iowa. That's Iowa.
You know,
That's the majority
you
of
get your 40 or your 36 or your couple 40s a
And you're
year,
just tickled.
and maybe 150 if you're lucky.
I have yet to find one, but they're
And
out there.
I have, yeah, I've had a couple on my line, but wasn't lucky enough
They
to
always
get them
feel
in.
like 50.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Darrin, how big was that fish that you caught when you were young? When we went down
I think it was
to
20,
Tasler?
27, I believe.
27?
Yep.
And you were probably, what, 14?
Yeah.
13,
Yep.
14?
13, 14. That's what got me hooked right there. It was
was
that
an
night.
awesome night.
That night
Yeah,
was
it was a
hooked.
fun night.
I was with Jesse Jansen.
Yeah.
You know, that was a great night.
Anytime you get that first big one
Yep.
of any
Yeah.
species.
And it was late. We were in a. I remember being struggled because it was a long night and we didn't have much, and then it was late when it hit.
Yeah.
I think it was after midnight.
Oh, I'm sure. Which, to me, is no big deal, but when you're 13, 14,
Yeah.
you're like, this
Yeah.
is bullshit.
Yeah. I still had a lot of fun that time. That's
Yeah, it was a good trip. We need to do more of it. for
Yeah.
Sure.
definitely.
But what have you been doing recently fishing?
I haven't been able to flathead hardly at all. I got out a couple times, but the raccoon's so low, I don't really travel much. But I've been fishing walleye and smallmouth on rock walls and rapids and stuff
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Doing pretty well?
Lots of smallmouth, but they're all real small.
Yeah.
Nothing over a pound and a half. You're lucky to get a pounder. But walleye were real good in the spring, I thought. It was right after that April when it was really high.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it went down and got hot, they just disappeared on me,
Yeah.
which is normal.
That is
but
kind of normal for
Yeah.
They'll be back.
our small rivers.
Give them a few.
Yes.
Give them a few weeks.
Yeah,
here.
and I'll
They'll
be
back.
ready for the fall
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, in April, I was fishing with you, Butters.
Yeah,
your neck of the woods.
I wanted you to come up a little earlier,
Yeah,
but timing is what it is.
it is. And that's walleye fishing.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of lights
We
out
got to
for-
see some people catch some fish that
we
day,
did.
That's the worst.
We did.
but
No, that was a great time.
I'll have to put my work in this spring since they redid the. They're doing all that work down there, and they put in
are.
all that rock. So I'll have to get out there early January, February, and do some long rod fishing and try and locate them, see where they're at. Now that the structure's all changed down there,
So do people fish that bridge that you and I went to? Do people pretty much fish that year round?
yeah,
That's what I thought.
yeah,
Because I've driven by there a couple times since, just because I was in the area.
yeah.
And I've never once driven across there, no matter what time of day, where there hasn't been somebody fishing.
There's every time I've gone down to flathead fish down where I go, there's usually about 20, 25 cars on that bridge until about 11, 10, 11 o'clock, and then you got
Then
your
the hardcore guys
then the
are
hardcores
still
are
there.
still there. You got
Yeah.
like 10 guys, and then by about 1, the bridge is usually empty.
Huh.
But yeah, it's a hopping spot, man.
Which, I don't know how places like that do, but it always has results.
It's
You know,
got
there-
bait. There's running water.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
And it doesn't matter how many they yank out and they clean, somebody's still going to be catching fish.
I never enjoyed doing that kind of stuff. Fishing for me was never about what you catch. It's about doing it.
Yeah.
Just going out there with that many people, I wouldn't.
It was fun because I'd never done anything close to that.
You know me,
You know?
it's not my thing. I
Yeah.
just did it
Yeah.
because I'm like, well, the water's high and this
The
is where they're
water's high.
biting. You know, it's where we have a chance.
And it was literally trolling off a 25-foot bridge. Because you cast out the current and you just flick it.
Yep.
It was cool. I've never seen anything like it. And then somebody will reel one in and drop the bridge net down and scoop them up and bring it back up.
I saw somebody third week of flathead fishing catch a 45 to 46 pounder
Off the bridge.
off of not that bridge,
But
a bridge, and
Yeah.
I got a front row seat for it, and there's like 3 guys trying to pull this fish up. It was they ended up getting it up, but
Yeah.
it was pretty entertaining to watch.
Did the fish go back?
I want to say yes. But I didn't really see him put it back, so I can't. And that was the hardest part about this year for me, was fishing down in that location. I watched a lot of trophy fish get slaughtered,
Yes.
and it's something that I struggle with. Yes, it's people's rights to harvest fish, but
It sucks.
it, it does suck because you take a 40-pounder out of the river. I mean, it's a big fish. It's a lot of eggs.
Yeah. I had this conversation with a guy at one of my guide spots. I got there, boat was in the water, I was set up, waited for my clients to show up, because I always get there stupid early, because I'm nervous as hell, and want to make sure everything's perfect. So this older guy comes down, stops, we shoot the shit. It's like, yeah, I got a 46-pounder here 2 nights ago. I'm like, oh yeah? Did it have like a dark spot, like on the left side of the head? Yeah, it did. I'm like, well, that's awesome. You know, I call her, I think it was Emily, is what I called that one. Because I caught her 2 years ago, I caught her 3 times. She was 40 pounds on the dot every single time. She had a black spot right on the left side. Last year I caught her twice and she was 43. He caught her this year at 46, put a knife in her. Mm-hmm. When they get that big, they're not going to be alive much longer. I'm like, you do realize that they get over 80 pounds, right?
This is why we don't see very many 50s.
It's not even half grown.
Because people keep the 40s.
Yeah, 46 pounds is barely half grown. Based on genetics. I know that's not always. But when you keep a 40-pound fish, it could be twice as big in the future.
Yeah.
And produce thousands more fish.
And if that is the same fish, she went from 40 to 43 to 46. So she's still growing at a pretty good rate.
Yep.
It's not like she was slowing down and she was 45
and
depending, for 2 years
depending what time of the year you catch that fish, if she's 46 this year, when she pre-spawned, she could have been a 50. I mean, that's too bad to hear.
So I was disappointed, and he was just proud as hell of it. And I knew, he said, well, I went to the car and I got the gaff. I'm like, oh, that's just as normal. He catches a flathead, he kills a flathead.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't carry a gaff in your car.
No kidding.
Anyway, like you said, it's legal.
It
this
is
right. But I wanted to punch that old man so hard in the face.
There's something that I think that we could do about it. But I think you'd have to talk to the right people, and you'd have to have a pretty good amount of people backing it. You'd have to,
which we've had the fisheries biologists on, and there is very little interest in making changes to the catfish regulations.
But if you catch, I've listened to the podcast, and you know.
I ain't getting Grandy of having.
Yeah, you catch 8. Yeah. You can legally keep 8 50-pound flathead if you wanted to.
I think it's 15, isn't it?
I think it's 8.
Is it? It may be.
I think channel cats are a little bit more relaxed, but I think it's a mixed bag. I think you can only have 8 catfish per day.
Really? Okay.
I may not be correct on that, but
I haven't looked it up so long because the chance of me catching or keeping 8 fish is none. I never will.
It'd be nice to see if they put a limit, like you got to put fish back that are over 40 inches long or over
yeah.
That would be
30,
awesome.
You know,
over 35, over 35, because 35
fish is what, 25 pounds, 30-inch fish.
No, because
not quite.
I measured. There was some 21s this year that I caught that were 38s.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which was then they were skinny.
Yeah.
Like super skinny.
Yeah. Because a 4-foot fish is usually tipping that 50-pound mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be some sort of regulation on the size that you can take.
Yeah. Because I literally asked the guy, I said, what? It was 46 pounds. I said, what are you going to do with almost 40 pounds of meat?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got kids to feed. Bull freaking shit. Are you going to feed your kids 40 pounds of flathead meat before it goes bad? There's no way.
No.
There's only so many fish tacos a kid can choke down.
So they say you get 75% yield from a flathead, something
roughly,
like that.
I mean,
so
there's a lot of meat.
So a 46-pound fish, you're probably going to get, what, 30, I'm not a good math guy, but say 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Even still, what are you going to, that's a lot of meat.
I mean, you put 30 pounds of hamburger on this table, and that's a big amount.
That 30 pounds should last a family like a month, maybe?
Oh, yeah, if you only eat hamburger.
Right, every day, twice a day, you know.
If you only eat hamburger.
Yeah.
So if you're eating 30 pounds of flathead before it gets freezer burnt or goes bad, your kids are going to be sick of
Which
fish.
there's nothing wrong with keeping a flathead.
There's not.
As long as, in my opinion, as long as it's like a 5 to 15.
A 15-pound fish has a crap load of meat on it.
You're going to get a lot of good
delicious.
meat. Yeah.
Yeah. You can grill it. You can fry it. You can all out of one fish. You could have 5-6 meals out of a nice 15-pound fish.
Just don't knife the trophies, man.
No shit.
Just stop doing it. It's
Or at least let me punch you in the face once.
you know I when I was downtown this year, right at the beginning of the season, this old guy, if I would have known he was going to keep the fish, I wouldn't have gotten up off my ass to go grab it for him. I would have let him struggle on his own. Because immediately after I grabbed it and I handed it to him, he chucked it and threw it against the wall. And I'm like, come on, man. Like,
Jesus.
Like, can you... I get it, but you could at least respect the fish a little bit before you kill it.
Fucking Royal Rumble on the river.
He just, boom, After that, I left. But, I struggled with it down there a couple times, man. So
I can see that.
I heard about a 50 getting caught, and that's 2 in the last 2 years that have been kept down there. And it's like, why, man? You guys are never going to have a chance at, and they probably don't care.
No.
At having a state record broken, because all they care about is putting a little bit of meat in their freezer and then throwing
showing off to their friends and look what I got.
And then throwing out 20 pounds of meat 6 months later because it went bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
That sucks. It just it is what it is. I mean, but struggling this year early as I did, and now kind of revamped and going. It just sucks that people are just taking away those opportunities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think of it different. I've got a guide service. I want to put people on fish. I like seeing my friends catch fish. I've probably only reeled in 6 flathead all year. And there's probably been 18 or so that I've boated or netted or caught on the bank. But I've only caught 6 myself, which I'm more than okay with. I enjoy watching people catch fish. So.
Which I can relate to you on that. I took my buddy Cody out this year, and before he had went out, his biggest flathead was a 5-pounder, and
so there's room for improvement.
Yeah, a little bit, and it's not the first trip out. Well, the first trip out I took him was kind of tough because we sat in a spot where we were behind a father-son team that was in front of us. That's my buddies. We watched them pulling 5, and we didn't catch one. And we're like,
crap.
That was the start of our seat. And I'm like, this is some bullshit.
This is crap. That was on that stretch that we talked about earlier.
Yeah. So we went back there the following week because we were like, oh, come on, what's the deal? We got to get one. Well, he ended up getting one. He ended up getting a 14. So that
happy as hell.
Oh, he when he set the hook, he set the hook. And it pulled him forward. He literally started going towards the river, and he's like, "Whoa, I'm not used to that." I said, "Yeah, bud, that's what a flathead does."
Wait till you hook a 40.
That's what I said to him. I said, "Wait till you hook a 40." And then 2 weeks later, he went out on his own on the river up by his house, and he hit a 30.
Hell yeah!
And then he
created a monster.
Yeah, he's hooked. He's gotten 2 rods now since then, and
hell yeah!
And he's loving life.
That's awesome.
Hooked on. His wife might not like me anymore, but
well, you can't win them all.
That's semantics. I don't worry about the small things in life.
That's right. Did you get any guide trips? I know this spring you were offering
No.
some walleye guide trips.
No.
Nobody wanted to go out.
No. Oh, I had one, but when he wanted to go out, the river had risen back up.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a good grip on where they would be and where I could get them on a bite. And
so instead of wasting both your
I
time,
just told him, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to get you back out there on some fish. And I think he went with somebody else a few weeks later, but
yeah,
it's all right. I enjoy just taking my friends out,
yeah,
and just having a good time and watching them catch fish. And even if they're not, experienced and they come out and they learn a little bit and they catch a fish, that to me is rewarding in itself.
Yeah. And that's my number one thing for guiding is you're going to leave, we catch fish or not, you're going to leave here a better fisherman.
Yeah.
You know, that's my number one goal. And so far, you know, I think that's been coming across pretty well, and people have been really happy with it. So, and then when you stick a 40, that's just icing on the cake.
Yeah. 40's it's a damn nice fish.
It is.
I was lucky enough to get one this year. Last year I got 2, but there's still room for catching a 50 or a 40 here. We still got the fall.
Yeah, I would say our best fishing is 2 weeks away.
Yeah, they're gonna start putting the feed bags on.
Yep, and then we got
I'm gonna get no
2
sleep.
weeks of pretty consistent fishing, and then we'll have probably 3 or 4 weeks, depending on weather, of just lights out fishing.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
I'm not looking forward to losing the sleep, but it's a part of it.
It is. You can only fish them so much of the year.
Yeah.
You know.
It's what those fall, some of those fall days when you just don't really feel like going walleye fishing. You're like, I think I'll take a nap and catch up on that sleep today.
But flathead fishing, you just cast in, go to sleep. It'll wake you up. That's what you got clickers for.
Most of the time.
Heavy sleeper.
Most of the time. I had an instance this year where I didn't wake up, and there was two others of us, and I woke up and it wasn't my rod, it was my buddy's dad's rod. Both of his were going. These guys didn't get up, and I just ran to them, and I didn't know which rod to grab and hook. So I just set the hook on the one rod. It wasn't the right one.
It was the one that was wrapped.
Fish was on the other. Fish was on the other rod, but I still landed the channel.
Hell yeah!
At like 4 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, I've slept through a couple of them. Nothing major yet, but I've slept through a couple of them.
I can't ever sleep on the river when I'm
Really?
fishing. No.
No, I do. I sleep like a baby, especially when it's hotter than shit and it cools down.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bugs are usually horrible for about an hour till after dark, and then they kind of chill their shit out. And then after that, it's nighttime. I can just sleep straight through.
The bugs haven't really been that bad this year.
They really haven't.
No.
But
I think it's because of lack of rain.
Yeah.
It's been a good year for bugs, really.
Yeah. And that's the worst part about the upcoming, because once harvest starts, all those little black piss gnats will come out.
And those things are the worst.
They are. I'd rather have mosquitoes any day, because I haven't found anything that deters them.
They'll bite you, and you'll get like little pimples and stuff on you, and you're like, what the heck? Where'd this come from?
And they're by the thousands.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a mosquito where you swat, kill it. It's like your whole arm is full of little black gnats.
I think I've used bug spray once this year, and I've stayed out on the river probably at least 30 times this year.
I use my thermal cell every time, just as a precaution. But
I need to invest.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
They really are.
I'd like to
They
get
work
one
good.
too.
The only problem is if there's a breeze, they don't work as well, because they pretty much produce a scent cloud around you, like a dome, and then if you have a breeze, it blows that cloud away. So if you do have a breeze, put it upwind of you, and it will help a little bit, but not near as well as when it's calm.
Gotcha.
But they're pretty cool. So you work for Travis.
Yep.
He's got a couple ponds. Have you been fishing them quite a bit?
Yeah. A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that one that's not on his house property, but the one to the north? What's it got? Are those? He's got the
two to the south of his place.
Oh yes, the south.
Yep. Yep.
One of them's got the hybrids in it.
Yep.
Are they getting big?
Yeah, they're gonna be fun. I'm ready for ice.
Oh, man.
For the hybrids.
They're fun through
Are they
there.
hybrid bluegill?
Yeah.
Is that what they are?
Yep. I believe they're
a hybrid bluegill or a hybrid green sunfish.
Yeah, I think they're hybrid bluegill, for sure.
But he told me that last year they went and just.
They're so fun.
The
by the time you can't even get your jig down there at all, and they just smoke it.
That's awesome.
But the pond at his place it's really nice. Crappie I've been hammering crappie. They're about 12, 14.
Ooh, those are nice size.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted me to come catch some channel cat and do a fish fry on the bank. So
Yep.
This fall we're gonna do that.
I think
Go hang out.
I don't know, 3 weeks ago I went out there and you just worm and bobber right off the top, right at sundown. I caught 5. Biggest one was 5.5, and smaller one was probably 3, but I mean
that's good
it's
time.
too fun. I rigged up. I got like a little ugly stick Shakespeare ultralight with like 50-pound braid on it, and just throw a little bobber and hook out there, and got the drag loosened as far as you can, and it's
Just horseshoeing your rod.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's too much fun to stop.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's like every guy needs a place like that just to go out and relax.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just something where you just beat the brakes off them and just have a good time.
Yep.
I got a bait pond like that.
Yeah. You've got some monster greenies this year.
It's public too.
Is it? Hell yes. That's awesome.
It's you wouldn't believe how many people drive by it.
That's cool. Is it one of the fish local
Yeah.
deals? That's awesome.
Those greenies, man, they were a ticket to a lot of my flatheads this year. I did a float with Kit once when it was this hot.
Yeah.
And it stormed on us. Oof.
Oh man.
That was not good.
I bet it felt awesome when the storm moved in though. It went from hot to cold. You're like, yeah.
For a little bit, but it literally rained like a cow pissing on a flat rock for like 45 minutes, man. And
That's the worst.
And you're out in the middle of nowhere.
when you're in a tent on a
Yeah.
sandbar,
Oh,
it's like, man. But we had a night this year where we got caught in a pretty bad lightning storm.
That scares me.
And
Yeah,
we just left our rods in, and we sat there. I was under a tarp.
Yeah. Not caring the world.
Nope,
Good to go.
just waiting for a clicker to go.
Hell yeah.
But
But before the camera shut off, we were talking about bait. You know, all my early flathead and decent flathead have been on greenies, but the last 2 weeks they've been kind of switching over to bigger bullheads.
really,
My bigger bullheads have been getting hit more common now than my greenies.
I have not been able to catch a flathead on a bullhead since
Really?
the first year I started trying to catch flatheads.
Yeah, they're kind of hit and miss, but it seems like the bigger fish like the bigger bullheads. And I don't know if it's instinctual, like they're just trying to take out another predator. Because bullheads, you know, they wreak havoc on a lot of the water systems they're in. So I don't know if it's just kind of the flathead's way of getting that out of there. So their habitat's better, but if you put a big bullhead in front of a big flathead, a lot of times you're reeling him in.
The
Yeah.
bullheads seem to last so long
They-
too.
and that's
Man, they
another
can
thing
stay
I love.
alive.
Those greenies that I get, they don't die.
Yeah,
Unless they get turtled.
yeah.
They-
That's my favorite two baits for that reason.
You can leave them on all night long,
Yep. And
and
next
if they don't
morning,
get hit, they're still there.
They don't get hit, they're kicking.
I took one, caught one in the morning, or at night that night, and then in the morning, I went over and I started fishing some structure with the same fish that I had on all night, and a 10-pounder smokes it the first time I
whacked.
dropped it
Hell
down.
yeah.
I mean, and that was the cool thing that I started trying this year was vertically fishing some deeper
Some
holes.
daytime holes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just right off the side of a bank, or whatever, whether it's rock or wherever, just a hole, where there's deep holes. And I picked off 5 in the day doing that this year, and I caught 3 in one day,
Oh yeah.
and then a couple
All from the bank, or you're on your kayak?
from my kayak.
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
tied up to the bank,
Yep.
and I'm just fishing off the side of it, and man, feel that thump.
It's
And then you
awesome.
just slowly see your rod go down
Yeah.
cockily. You're like, man, here it is. And
Because they're already home. They're
Yeah.
not going to make a big
Yeah.
run. They just grab it, and tuck back in where they were.
and that was my thought process when I woke up that morning. I'm like, well, we didn't get as many bites as I thought we would.
yeah.
Well, maybe I can catch a couple before they go
On
to
the way
sleep.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just paddle upstream a little bit, and I just every 10 feet I'd drop a bait
Hell yeah.
and hit 3 in one stretch. And my
That's
buddies
awesome.
were mad. They're like, what the hell?
You got to try shit.
But I'm like, hey, my one buddy was still packing up on the sandbar when I caught the first one, and he's like, "Are you serious?" He hadn't caught one. I was just like, I don't know what to
Yeah.
tell you, man.
It's a good
Your ass in the
tactic.
yak.
It's a good tactic.
Yeah.
You know where the holes are. You know,
Yeah.
bring it to them. It's good.
My only issue with daytime flathead fishing
Losing gear.
is losing gear. Because you have to be in the shit.
Yeah.
Because that's where the fish are. They're not out roaming during the day. They're tucked up under their rocks or under their logs. And you got to put a bait in in their face, or else you're not gonna get bit.
Yeah.
Snagging, wrapping around logs.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And that's
And even getting bit and getting them out are two different things. Like we said, they're home.
Yeah.
They're gonna grab that bait and just
If you get
tuck
bit
right back in.
and you're in deep structure, you got to get them up right away.
Yeah.
Because if they have enough time, they get deep enough in that brush pile or wherever they're at.
Yeah.
You're
You're
getting
done.
them out. You're not
You're
getting
done.
them back
You won't
out.
see them. Yeah.
Unless you're hopping out of your kayak and swimming down and pulling them out yourself. That's the only way, which I would not recommend.
No
I would
thanks.
not do that.
No, thank
No.
you.
I will go and get directly above them and try to stick
Oh,
a
yeah.
rod down there and
Yeah.
unweave the nest that they made, but that rarely works.
Which that's one thing that I want to try and get good at, because I haven't been able to do it yet, is pull them out of an actual brush pile.
Yeah.
I've been able to do it on, rocky banks and stuff like that, and cut banks, but on an actual brush pile, I want to be able to pull them out.
It's tough. And Bauer's got it down like a science. That guy, I don't know how he does it. I really don't.
I'll be honest, I spent a lot of time watching him and Denny,
Yeah.
and I watched a lot of Denny's videos the day that it was like the couple days leading up to the day that I caught those 3 from my kayak in the daytime.
That's pretty much all Denny did. Denny was almost a complete daytime flathead because he didn't like fishing.
Which is
enough.
impressive.
He didn't want to stay up.
Which is impressive that he got some of the fish he got during the day. I'm like, are you
Oh.
kidding me?
In his stretch that he fished, he had it dialed.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew, okay, there's a 46 that lives there. There's a 38 that lives there. And he'd just go pay him a visit.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool system.
And Denny, he's such a great guy and funnier than crap. I wish he fished more. I miss fishing with him for sure.
But I watched a lot of his videos. I watched a lot of Spencer's videos, and just kind of take little things and put them in my head. And
Yeah.
I kind of watched how they both fight the kayaks, close combat. How your body, how you react when you get that bite, and where you put the rod when you're trying to land the fish.
That's huge.
And just keep in mind that you need to be stable when you lean over to grab the fish.
What do you got for a kayak?
It's FS10.
So it's a good kayak.
Yeah, it's a sit-in.
Yeah.
So it's stable. I did roll it last year, but that was
Learning curves.
just because a guy and his girl were in a canoe trying to beat us down to the sandbar, and I'm like, let's go. And I had my phone in one hand, and I tried to hop in my kayak, and fast current right there,
Yeah.
lost my balance. Yeah.
Not something I'll be
No,
redoing.
no. It's a good night, though. We ended up catching 7 that night. But
Do you use a sit-in?
No, I prefer to sit on top.
Yeah.
I've had both, and I really prefer to sit on top just because
it's more comfortable, right?
It's better movement,
to
I
me,
felt like.
it is. And my seat comes out of the kayak, so once I get to the sandbar and take my seat out and use it as a lawn chair, so that's one less thing you got to pack. And I don't know. I love the kayak I've got. It's a Ascend D10T. They don't make that style anymore. And it's probably twice as thick as what you can buy now. Like Ascends have kind of, I would hate to say cheapen up, but their plastic that they run on their kayaks now is a lot thinner. And I think that takes a lot away from the stability. Because
Yeah.
mine's very stable.
It is
For a
stable.
10-footer.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I can go, when I was first learning to paddle, you go down those rapids, then you get to the bottom and it wants to spin you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't know that you had to paddle through, so I just let it spin me. It's like riding a bull.
Mm-hmm.
It'll come and hang it left, and it's like you just got to keep spurring and hold on.
Not everybody knows how to ride a bull, though.
I'd get thrown off one for sure.
That was a good portion of my life, too. That was a good time. I used to ride quite a bit. So that was a lot of fun. Again, my life's in like segments. Like I went from, wrestling, of course. Then I went to bull riding. Then I did a lot of demolition derbies. Then I went to hobby stocks, racing dirt tracks. Then I went to, I don't know, raising kids. And now I'm kind
You're a
of
thrill
fishing.
seeker.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If somebody told me I couldn't do something, I was going to do it 27 times. Yeah, I did not live a cautious life. We'll say that.
We only live once.
So Yeah.
That's
And now my body's like, you are an idiot. You are an idiot. Remember that time that 76 station wagon threw you up and rolled you over? Yeah, I feel it right there.
so I did some product research this year.
Yeah?
I had my Whisker Seeker. Obviously, that was the first serious catfish rod that I bought, and I love it.
Yep.
I went out and I bought a couple Mad Cats this season.
Yeah.
And I like them. I'm not going to say anything bad about the Mad Cats, but I think I'm going to buy another couple Whisker Seekers eventually.
I've never fished a Mad Cat. I've been them in the store.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've checked them out pretty extensively. And they do, like, have a catch. Like, they shut down way faster than the Whisker Seeker does.
One of mine is a heavy, and it's super
stout.
Yeah,
That's your log jam rod.
and
you know,
I'm not going to use that unless I'm going to fish into structure.
Yep.
So I love the Whisker Seeker.
I had a rod that I literally sat on top of log jams for. I think it was a Daiwa beef stick. Beef stick was the name. I forget what company actually produced it, but that was my log jam rod, because if I didn't catch fish, I'd go to the local pool hall and we could shoot a couple games with it, because that thing did not bend. When you had a decent fish on it, the end would go, whoop. It did not bend. You just set that thing as hard as you could and just keep reeling.
Yeah.
Pull them out of that shit.
I think your pole's got to have some bend.
Definitely, especially on the sand or on a boat. It's got to be able to load up.
You got to have some give to it, because if they want to go somewhere, you got to let them, you know?
Yeah. You're not going to stop them. If they're 40, 50 pounds, they're going to do what they want to do, and you just keep up.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. Even with the 20-pounder, like, if you're fishing from your kayak, hey, it's all right. I don't get much action, so I appreciate it.
Butteris is making out on the couch.
That's right. Getting puppy kisses over here. Even a 20-pounder, like, from the yak, you just hold on. You don't try and you obviously want to get them up, but in the beginning of the fight, you just kind of let them do what they're doing.
That's the funnest part.
Do the thing.
Yeah,
you
just
know?
feeling those head shakes and they go bam, bam.
Yeah. I've never done it on a kayak.
I
would like to.
You've
It's
got to,
pretty
man.
fun. Yeah.
It's a
good
rush.
time. Yeah, I think I'm gonna buy another kayak just to kind of give that as an option for guides, because a lot of people want to try it, they just don't have the equipment.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm gonna get another kayak, and me and you'll get out.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Which I believe you can, since they're not on your watercraft, you can then enjoy beverages, correct?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I'm looking at the that's where I look at the semantics.
That sounds like more of a fishing trip for me too.
Which, when we're on an all-night trip and we're camped out on the sandbar, we're not in the boat, if somebody wants to have a couple beers, I'm not saying you're going to down a case and be an asshole, but if someone wants to relax while they're doing flathead fishing, we're on the sand, we're not on the boat, they want to drink a couple beers, so be it. I don't have any issues with that whatsoever. So, and usually if they do an all-night trip, I usually cook them a steak dinner. I'll take steak and asparagus or whatever they prefer, and I'll make them a steak dinner if we do an all-night trip, and then they want to have a couple beers while we're having dinner.
That's eating
Great.
good.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's eating good on the river.
Yeah, because I've really come to enjoy cooking on my boat, because I've got a pretty good cooking kit. If we catch some channels or we catch a 5-pound flathead, frying it up or having a steak dinner on the all-night trips, I really enjoy cooking on the boat now. It just kind of, for one, it passes the time, because I usually start my guide trips at 6. We try to get some daytime flatheads on the way to where we're going to set up.
Yeah.
And then once we set up, you're kind of twiddling your thumbs, making small talk. But if I can cook a nice meal and we enjoy a dinner, that kind of gets us to happy hour without, any downtime and stuff. So I really enjoy that. Even if it's brats or anything, just kind of break up.
Yeah, I've come to learned to love the brats in the pan.
Yeah,
It's easy, quick,
it is.
convenient.
Fills you up all night.
Oh
You're not
man,
starving.
I can eat 3 of those chili cheese Johnsonvilles and I'm set. I'm set.
Good to go. Little TP later, and I'm ready.
Just watch out. Just watch out in the morning when you're coming around that river bend. I might be bent over somewhere
Yeah.
doing my business.
I started carrying wet wipes in my.
They are
my boat.
lovely.
Yeah, I found the individual wrapped ones. Like you don't have to open the whole package; they're individually packaged. Because I went to, where'd we go? We went to the Missouri River. It was Will, a guy from Texas that Spencer used to go to Amazon with. Spencer, Big Sam, and then me. And we went, and the first day we ate spicy ass food. And I knew better, but it was so hot on the way in and the way out, and we were still there for 3 days. My ass hurt all the way for the next week.
Baby powder.
For the next week it was on fire. So I went and found individually wrapped, kind of baby wipes. Just we're gonna call them man wipes.
Yeah.
But just wet wipes. That I think that'll save the day next time.
So I got a question. What's the weirdest thing you've encountered this year out on the river?
It's been a pretty calm year this year. I
Yeah.
haven't really. But you fish a lot more urban areas than I do. So Darren's got a story for this.
Yeah, I
You
don't
got
fish urban rivers either. And last week we went to Des Moines. We get set up. We're on a boat ramp, and there's kayak people dropping in. It's probably 5 in the afternoon, so there's still a lot of daylight left. And we start hearing it sounds like some guy's yelling help downriver. And so we're like, what the heck is going on? And it gets closer and closer, and there's some random guy with his shirt off in the middle of the river just flopping over. But about 5 minutes after that, DNR showed up, sheriff showed up, ambulance showed up. The guy walks down and says, we're going to have to ask you guys to leave. One of the kayak people that left called the guy in, and apparently they went to told him, no, he passed us about an hour ago. So they came to where I was, and so yeah, I'm not a big.
It's just Butteris.
Yeah.
It's good. He's fine.
No,
You're good?
yeah, it was funny. It was irritating because we had just got set up. We had a couple of good bites and caught a real small white bass, and there was definitely fish there. Not for long.
And that's what sucks about the water this low. That guy could have walked 20 miles.
Yeah.
Without hitting a hole.
It looked like he walked 20 miles.
Oh my gosh.
And he was just begging for water, and he was saying he was dehydrated.
Delusional.
You could tell.
He probably started the trip a little.
Probably drank too much.
Yeah. He was definitely floating with a group, I'm sure.
Yeah, I love those recreational groups that go out
yeah.
there on the river.
You should have seen Wisconsin. We were in a stretch where there was 2 different companies. Like one had orange tubes and one had green tubes. And each one of them, business was good. I bet we saw 1,000 people floating down.
Yeah.
We literally were catching smallmouth and tried to reel them in before the tubes got to us so we could move the boat out of the way. It was awesome. It was a good time. But everybody was hooting and hollering. Everybody had a blast. They're just used to it.
The crazy part about that is some of those places that there's all these people and they're tubing.
Yeah.
And they pull up on you and they're like, oh, you catching any fish? And you're like, well, not right now. But
You just stepped on my bait.
it's crazy that the areas that are heavily populated by people,
The fish adapt to it.
and they're so used to it. They don't care.
Yep.
And
Like literally, we would catch smallmouth or walleye or drum and there's people all the way around us in tubes. Like we would have to stick our foot out and push the tube away from the boat.
so they wouldn't hit the boat.
Because we were spot locked. So we were spot locked in one spot. So we would push them. They're like, thanks, have a good day. It was just a blast. We had a nonstop conversation with hundreds of people all day long.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then the lights went out and we stacked up the catfish.
Bad experience a couple weeks ago. Went to a new spot. Paddled upstream from the boat ramp. There's a rock bank on a bend. And I saw that there was a boat trailer. And this guy, and I'm assuming it's his wife, zoomed by me the first time. And I was tied off to the rocks. I'm like, whatever, not a big deal. But then he proceeded to do it like 6 more times. And there's people that are floating in tubes. And I'm trying to fish.
And he's not fishing?
He's not fishing. He's just cruising, being a dick. And every time he'd do it, my lines would get snagged up in the rocks. And I'd have to either unsnag it or move.
Yeah.
And it was making me feel uncomfortable and unsafe. Because I was pushing up. He's pushing the wake up against me.
Yeah.
I stopped and I was about ready to throw a rock at him.
Yeah.
And he saw that. So the last time he came by, I was like, hey, man, if you don't knock it off, I'm going to call the frickin' sheriff's department. He's like, the water's only 2 feet deep in the river. I go, not right where I'm fishing. It's not.
Yeah, no shit. That's
And
the reason I'm posted up here.
I said, what are you doing? I said, you're not even fishing, man. I said, you need to leave. Yeah, I said, what are you doing? This isn't a recreational, what are you doing? Like, people are trying to fish here.
Yeah.
I was like, take that crap to Sailorville.
No shit.
You want to go hot rodding in that thing. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then he left.
It's like them dang airboats, man. I was fishing last week. Just last week. Probably had been set up for about an hour and a half. It was just starting to get sundown. Somebody on one of them boats just came right up, and they're so loud.
You could hear them things from miles away.
And that's what I was like, what is this thing?
Were they fishing?
No.
See, that's the thing that kills me.
Cruising.
Yeah.
That kills me. Like, you can't take that on a bigger body of water.
Yeah.
Like,
but if this river doesn't go up, that's my next bet.
Yeah.
just to buy one.
Yeah.
Because I can't even get my freaking
He's going to be the loud noise.
I will.
But at least he'll be fishing.
True. So you got that going for you.
After I spin a donny right in front of you. Then I'm going to go fish
Spray
right
it,
upstream.
spray you.
Yeah. Yeah, those things are so freaking loud, but sometimes that's the only boat that would work.
And I don't mind airboats that bad.
They're so uncommon.
That guy, that was the first time I've ever encountered somebody doing that stupid crap on the river.
Yeah.
If
especially with it being so low.
If I'd have had a paintball gun with me, he'd have not been happy.
Add it to the tackle.
He'd have not been happy. I mean, it was pretty frustrating, because you're trying to check out a new spot and see if there's any fish in it, and
there was not.
Yeah. If they were, they weren't gonna bite like that,
Yeah, that's crazy. And I know we all have to share the water, but like you said, there's a place for recreational boating.
Right.
Miles away from there.
Common sense and common courtesy go a long ways in the fishing world.
Absolutely.
And I'm a big person in treating people the way that, you treat me. If you treat me good, I'll treat you good. If you talk to me good, I'll talk to you good. If you hit me with a fastball, I might charge them out.
So what you got coming up, D? You got any fishing trips? Or what do you got
I
planned?
don't have nothing planned.
You just waiting for fall walleye?
Yes. I'm itching to get back into the walleye. And I went through, man, I had so many farm ponds to fish 5 years ago. That's all I did was bass fish, just because it was so fun, and every time I went, I could catch 5 to 7 pound largemouth.
Yeah, you went over west a little bit. Yeah, and caught some big ones.
Yeah, and I can still go over there. You just gotta hit them early. They don't have grass carp in the pond. They get real mossy and stuff. But I got bored of it almost of catching fish, and that's when I started. Probably 3 years ago is when I started river fishing for walleye real hard.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to catch nothing there.
Yeah, exactly.
You get tired of catching
fish.
That
first year.
Try to catch a walleye in the cube.
That first year was so rough for me. I mean, it was hundreds and hundreds of casts at every spot.
I'm laughing because I know his pain.
And then the second year, it was early. It was still almost cold almost. And I went out there and in 4 casts caught 4 walleye right away. And I was like,
I retired.
I was like,
done.
oh.
Was it February?
It wasn't that early. It was April, but
you can get some good fish early.
And
oh yeah,
and it was good, but And then that's when it hit me that second year. I was like, that's what I want to do, and that's what I've been doing. It's just walleye fishing, rock beds, and rapids and everything. And the smallmouth have been fun too because they're always there.
Yeah.
And you know
They
where.
fill the void.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're always there. So, but yeah, a lot of. I need to get on the river. That's what my plan is.
You like
for-
walleye because of the thump?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know it.
It's a
You
challenge.
know
Yeah.
it is.
Walleye-
It's
there's not many fish that challenge you
it's a hard
like a
fish.
flathead.
Walleye, they're similar.
Yeah.
I think they're very similar. The bite is similar, but the flathead's like times 20
Yes.
Yeah.
when they thump it.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
the way
think
they
I think
hunt are
I
pretty
think-
similar
I think walleye are easier to catch in the aspect that there's more of them.
in your area. Here, there's not.
Um,
But yeah, in your area there is. I would almost say there's more flathead in our county than there is walleye. I would put money on that.
Nobody puts walleye back around here.
Well, they don't stock them here because
Yeah.
we have the emerald shiner.
oh,
So any fish that are in this area have to come here
have to.
because they don't reproduce. So any fish, any walleye that are in this area have to come from another area that is stocked.
Well, I mean, if they keep taking out all these dams, you might
Yeah.
not have an issue with
Yeah,
that soon.
exactly right.
I'm for it. Take them
And
out.
that would help the flathead population up here too, actually. But they just change your fishery quite a bit.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I adapt.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
You just
people
have
and
to
get
most people don't.
most
which
people
is
get
awesome.
you know they get upset when there's these little changes and nuances, and I'm just like, okay, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
you just
know?
gotta head west. That's all.
West or east. West or east.
Hell yeah. Well, I gotta take a piss, boys.
Yeah.
You guys talk amongst yourself.
Yep.
About to pee my britches.
So where you live at?
I live down Des Moines.
Yep.
I live pretty close to a lot of good fishing spots.
Yeah.
So I'm blessed in that in that aspect of things.
Is it because you've lived there long enough to know that the fish are there, or is it just pretty common knowledge that?
I mean, a lot of it's. I've lived there for a while now,
Your
so
fishing experience has helped that.
it has.
Yeah.
But I will say the last 3 years, light bulbs have been clicking really good
Yep.
for me. I've been
Yep.
figuring a lot of stuff out, not just spots per se, but just using different techniques.
Yep.
And just spending a lot of it's been a lot more time
That's
on
what
the water.
This for ever, like I said, I was a bass fisher for so long just because I had like 8 different farm ponds that were all an acre and a half that were just awesome.
Yeah.
When you throw any bait in your thing and catch the same fish, and it got boring. And
Right.
when I switched to walleye, the first year I'm still learning. It's all a completely different ball game from what I've been fishing. It's a whole. You got to learn. You got to adapt, and it's been a cool experience.
You gotta take into fact every little thing when you fish a river.
Yeah.
You know, the temperature, the color, the color of the water, the whether it's a bluebird sky day, overcast day.
You guys talking walleye?
Yeah, we're just talking about difference between fishing a pond versus a river.
how much
and
of a
more
learning
challenge.
experience it's
Yeah.
been
Oh yeah.
just
I
from
bet.
it.
And if you take those things and you can do a fish journal, or you can just mentally note them in your head, and that's what I do. You just kind of learn every time you go out. You learn.
Yep.
You learn something new.
And that's like this year. I remember going through my phone and to find pictures from last year to
have a date.
see what day I was catching fish on and what time of day I was catching fish on and what the sky looked like in the picture. And it didn't work, but I still tried.
And the best part is you can go back on the internet now and find,
Yeah.
the flow of the river.
Yep.
the
What the
barometric
temperature
pressure,
was
the
that
temperature.
day.
Is it
What moon cycle.
If it was rise and fall. Yeah, you can put the pieces together, and
Yeah.
that's what it takes to be consistent. It really does. I mean, that's brought my game a long ways.
Yeah,
It's
and
just knowing those
I'm definitely not consistent. So then one day you go out and I catch 2 or 3, 4 walleye. The next day,
Nothing.
the next 6 weeks, nothing. And then
Yeah.
and then
And that's kind of walleye.
Yeah.
I mean, it really
They're
is.
constantly moving,
Yeah.
especially pre-spawn.
And I'm fishing a lot of Carroll County, so you've been to a lot of the accesses. I'm
Great accesses.
Yeah,
Awesome.
the awesome rapids,
Awesome.
awesome
Not a
accesses.
lot of
There's just
walleye.
not a lot of walleye. Lots of smallmouth. I've got a lot of smallmouth, but
Yeah.
there's just nothing big.
Oh, we need to get the DNR to tear out some of the right dams then,
Yeah, exactly.
instead of taking out the ones that they shouldn't.
There's so many accesses in Carroll County. I mean, they're north of Glidden, up by Hobbs and Dixon and Merritt, and I
Yeah.
mean, all of them accesses are so great. There's just nothing there.
Yeah, you could literally within 30 miles. There's probably 15 accesses.
Oh yeah, at least.
I mean, there's just open water everywhere there. A lot of nice places to camp.
Yep.
You can get in some flathead through there. A lot of channel
Yep.
cat.
What county is it?
Carroll County.
Carroll County.
Yeah.
So, like down in Southwest Iowa, there's certain county down there they stock their own.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's cool.
down in that area.
Yeah.
A lot they stock their own walleye down in that county.
Yeah, Greene County used to stock them, and I think Carroll too, because we share a DNR program, I
Yep.
guess. But somebody found in one of the tests an emerald shiner, which is endangered, so they quit stocking walleye in fear of wiping out the
A bait
emerald
fish?
shiner. Yes.
Wiping out a bait fish.
Yes.
And is that that's the ponds that they've been making from? They've been asking farmers and stuff to make ponds. That's for the emerald
Yes.
shiner, right?
And that is the oxbows off of
Yeah.
the creeks, like the original oxbows,
What's the reasoning for wanting to save the emerald shiner?
because it's in danger.
Don't they sell them in packs at
One of-
Walmart for
one
bait?
of God's creatures.
Or is that a different type of emerald shiner?
No, I think that's exactly what it is, but it's shipped in from Arkansas or whatever,
Well,
where they're not endangered. I mean, they need to go to Walmart, give them mouth to mouth, bring them back, and release them so I catch a goddamn walleye.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
For a bait fish.
for a bait fish.
I mean, that makes sense, though. They don't want to put a predator in there. That'd wipe them out.
Yeah.
But, I mean, hey.
Not like the channel cat wouldn't do the same thing. It's
Right.
chock full of channel cat.
Yeah.
So how well, they think the walleyes are more aggressive than the channel cats are? Because
I
channel
guess.
cats are pretty feisty.
I don't know. My number one thing is the state of Iowa DNR has an X amount of tax dollars that they can spend per year. 90% of that goes to the Great Lakes, Des Moines area, or like Iowa City area.
Yep.
That's 90% of it. 10% is divvied out throughout the rest of the state, which population-wise makes sense.
Right.
You know, it just sucks for the other 10%.
Yeah, make you guys drive a little farther.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's, I came visit you quite a bit. I go to those fish local ponds quite a bit.
You need to tell the DNR when they ask you to re-get your license. Say, well, I think I've paid enough of gas money driving to other locations. You
Yeah.
guys need to stock up here and
No
I'll buy
shit.
my license.
I will build a pond if you stock it.
That's funny.
I think they could rotate it for 1 year and throw 90% of all the small stuff, and it would last so much longer than putting it all in Des Moines or all these big
Yeah.
spots. Because I don't think a lot of people around here. Well, that's not true either.
Yeah, there's people
Yeah.
rape and pillage.
Yeah.
Just
That's,
the same.
I don't know why.
But like those Des Moines lakes, they do a survey. I think it's every spring.
Yep.
And if it's low on crappie, they throw crappie in. Low on channel cat, they throw channel cat in. And it's awesome. I mean, you can go there and take your kids and catch fish.
Yeah.
It's a good time. And good sized fish in some of them.
No, they do a good job, and I think they've done a great job on some of their smaller lakes recently. There's a lot
Kind
of
of revamping them.
yeah, there's a lot
getting
of
them
there's a
out.
lot of bodies of water that I've fished that I probably would have never fished unless I'd looked at the DNR stocking report.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, anybody in Iowa, look up Fish Local. It's the website the Iowa DNR uses that it tells you pretty much size of fish, what species they've stocked, when they stocked them, any amenities like, playgrounds or bathrooms or if you can
You'd-
drive your 4-wheeler on the ice.
You'd be shocked at some of the fish that are in some of those ponds.
It's a cheat code, really. When I
Yeah.
I just started using it this year, and that's when I was in Des Moines area. That's why I was just out there, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's an awesome thing to
I
have.
got broke off at one of those ponds the other day,
Really?
and I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a bass. I'm assuming it was a bass.
Yeah.
But if it was, and the swirl and the movement I saw after I broke off,
It was a good one, huh?
yeah, it was probably 8 to 10 pounder.
Wow.
It was a good bass.
That'd be cool.
And I believe that it could be an 8 to 10 pounder with the size of the greenies in there.
Big bait equals big fish.
Man,
That's true.
Yeah, I've been jealous of your greenies. I got a farm pond that is mainly my big bullhead pond.
Yep.
But it has, I usually get a handful of those big greenies. But
and it's crazy because I caught one that was 1.1 pounds, and it wasn't even in that pond. It was at a completely different pond.
oh, no shit.
We were just trying to catch bluegill, and all of a sudden, I hit one. And I'm like, "Oh, it's a bass!" And then I get it up over the lily pads, and they're like, "What is that?" My buddy's dad was like, "What is that?" And he grabbed it, he lipped it, and he's like, "I've never seen one this big before."
Yeah.
He's
I've
like,
got one out in my bait tank right now that's probably 12 and a half, 13 inches.
He said-
it's a hog.
He said, "Can I put that on the hook tonight?" I said, "Yeah, man, whatever." Because I
absolutely.
already had a bucket full of like 10 of the hand-sized greenies.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yeah, you can."
Yeah, that's yours.
You
Your
can.
name's on it.
I'd love to see you catch a 50 with that.
Yeah.
It got turtled.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm like, man, what a waste of a damn
Yeah,
good
I know,
bait.
that sucks.
They're. If I don't like anything, it's turtles.
Same.
Turtles
I don't like
are
dealing
top
with
tier.
them. I don't like them biting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Top tier dickheads.
They're
turtles.
they're assholes, man.
They are, and I caught so many. When I wasn't catching flathead this spring, I bet I'm up to 30 turtles this year. I've just ravaged the turtles because there's no flatheads there to hit my baits.
Ryan the Ryan the turtle
Turtle
assassin.
Yeah.
I've caught 4.
Yeah.
So my numbers aren't quite as high as yours,
I
but
caught 4 in one night
oh my gosh,
in June.
that'd be
Yeah,
rough.
I was so pissed.
I had to went home.
I'd have broke out a machete
Because you never,
after the third one.
you never know. The next bite could be a 50.
That is
You
true.
gotta stay out there.
And that's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
we went through, Cody and I were out there one night. We went through 32 baits.
Holy crap.
But we kept fishing. And he hit one at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
after we gotten turtled for like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
He had like a 25. And I said to him, I'm like, that's why you keep fishing.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's why any guide trip, if it's a 6-hour guide trip, I bring 25 baits.
I was going to say
You
30,
could go
32 baits. I'd have been gone a long time
Yeah.
ago.
because you could go for 2 hours and go through a dozen baits pretty damn easy.
Oh, I was getting mad, man. I was throwing out hand-sized greenies, and I was like, oh, I'm getting a bite. Oh, wait a minute. This is a turtle. Reeling the bait, and just the gullets nipped out.
Yeah.
You know? Then you throw it back behind you on the bank. You think you did far enough, and the next thing you know, you got 5 coons around you.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, those coons they're not shy at all.
No,
either.
I had one try and climb in my kayak. He tried to climb up my whisker seeker rod.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, I'm laying on the cot, and he's like 3 feet from me.
We had a couple of getting in Bauer's boat one night, but the worst one was down in Texas. We went down to Texoma, and I was sleeping by my rods just on a cot, no tent, no nothing. And I wake up, and that coon's nose is as far away as this microphone is right now. I jump, he jumps over my rods into the water, starts swimming out, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like almost, I don't know if my breath stunk or what, but he was investigating.
Are you eating shad or something before you went to bed?
It was unbelievable.
Might have to take this dog home with me.
Yeah, Rory's a good old dog.
I gotta get me a
She
dog.
is.
Gotta get a dog that's about the size of Rory, so they can
Yeah.
go down on the river with me.
Yeah, she's gonna be a good boat dog. She's been out on the boat a few times.
Buddy Travis, he takes his little blue nose pit out with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a good dog to have with you. She likes to run around the timber at night sometimes.
Yeah.
And come back
But she comes back.
covered in ticks.
Oh, yeah.
Out chasing
Ticks
coons and deer all
birds.
night.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe I don't have a dog yet. I'm breaking down too. I'm gonna get one real soon.
Would you like a Labradoodle?
No. I've just had a roommate for so long, and now that I live by myself, it's time. I'm ready to get a dog
So are
now.
you still in the house up north?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
It's either get a dog or get a girlfriend, one of the two, right?
Dogs are so much easier. So much easier. Jesus.
Well, then I'll have both, so I'll be screwed.
Then you won't have time for fishing.
Yeah.
You'll be too busy trying to keep both of them happy.
Hey, the old lady loves fishing. That's
awesome.
one of the great parts.
That's a good
and she's
thing.
She's learning, but she really enjoys it. So
That's cool.
when I ask her what she wants to do, sometimes she says fishing. So that's
You're
even
like,
that's
yes.
yeah, exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
What'd you do wrong?
Yeah.
That's so I was messaging that girl I was telling you about
Yeah.
before we started this, and I said to her, I got a serious question for you. She goes, okay, what's that? I go, do you like fishing?
Our future rests on this answer.
It's a deal breaker.
She goes, I thought you were going to ask something else. And I'm like, all right, but do you like fishing?
I'll get to that later.
She said, yeah, I grew up on the lake. So I said, okay, cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's a deal breaker, you know.
And like Elise, she won't go with me, which I've told the story many times. The last time she went flathead fishing, caught a 34
She's
pounder.
like, whatever.
Yeah, caught a 34 pounder. She's like, cool. Hasn't been back.
Yeah.
But she doesn't care when I go. That's
Yeah.
the only thing I care about.
Yeah.
Because I'm going 3 times a week if you get pissed or not.
Right.
And she doesn't get pissed, so it makes it easier.
And
when
if
I
you
come
get
home.
pissed, I'll probably just stay out longer.
Yep. So I did kind of pop up a late trip to Wisconsin last weekend, right kind of in the middle of a move, and we're kind of redoing some shit around the house. Kind of a dick move on my part, but she took it well. So that's good.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah. Yeah. If I got to just do a little more work around here, that's fine. I just got to go on my Wisconsin trip without any hassle.
And it turned out well. So
Yeah.
I don't. I'm looking for a girl or a woman, I should say. Not a girl, a woman.
he can edit that out.
I won't though, 'cause that was funny.
I'm looking for a woman that doesn't necessarily have to like fishing and want to go all the time, but as long as she appreciates the outdoors and what it means
Yes.
to me,
As an appreciation.
and doesn't get pissed off because I go 4 or 5, sometimes 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Now, granted, if I get into a relationship, I'm not gonna do that.
I was
all
gonna
the
say
time.
you do a lot of fishing.
Yeah.
That's because I'm single.
Avery, come in and say hi to the camera. How was your first day at school?
Good.
Today is Avery's first day of 6th grade. Say hi. Step in front. This is Avery. She's kind of weird. Don't mind her.
My first day of 6th grade was rough.
I don't remember my
Flashback?
first grade.
Yeah, I just got
Little
PTSD.
of 6th grade.
Slick back gelled hair with a multicolored weird zip-up shirt. Yeah.
I was the coolest guy I ever knew.
You must have
That's right.
graduated in like 06, 05 maybe.
You did?
No, you must have.
04.
Oh, okay. So I was close.
You're close. You're close. No. Yeah, I do fish a lot. And it's because I'm single. I don't have kids that I get to see, so I take advantage of my time. And
It's better than sitting in the house.
I mean, what else am
yeah.
I gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, I can only cook so many things, and I can only watch so many YouTube videos or play so many video games, and I don't know. Like I've told you this before, my family, commercial fishermen over on the Mississippi River in Dubuque, and it runs in my blood, man. I got to be around water at least once a week, so I don't lose my sanity.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
I don't care if I catch a fish.
No.
You know, that's the bonus part to me.
The adventure is what I crave.
No.
You know, seeing what's around that next bend or that next animal or that, you know,
When you go
next
out,
interaction.
when you go out for 3 weeks straight and you don't catch anything, then you start to get a little bit pissed
Yeah.
off. You're like, all right, come on, fishing gods, what did I do? I did.
Yeah.
I like, come on, what did I do to deserve this? It's been 3 weeks. Just give me a nibble, something, anything. I'll take a channel cat right now. Give me a drum. I'll take a 2-pound drum, something. You're like fiending, like, just give me one more, something, anything.
Yeah, I think I crave the adventure now more than I do the fishing, just because all I've done is fish at farm ponds for the last 2 years now. And it'd be nice to just get out. I tell you what, sitting in a kayak in the pitch black.
All right, we are back. We had a little 15-20 minute break to let the GoPro cool down.
Apparently it's too hot inside, too.
Yeah,
even though it's not.
You know, even though the air's on. But yeah, that 9, I mean, I love the video. I love the audio. It just overheats. That's all there is to it. And, you know, usually if I'm using it on the river where I'm just videoing segments, it works perfect.
Right.
But the long, drawn-out podcast, it doesn't perform. But I want to switch back to my 5 because the audio sucks, and which I don't always use, but sometimes I have to. And then the video is not near as crisp as this. So it's just a trade-off. Sometimes you just got to stop and put a new battery in it.
Technology's great when it works. When it doesn't, it's not. It's a pain in the ass.
You just got to overcome it.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So what were we talking? D, you were talking. I forget.
I do too.
But we talked about the adventure part of river fishing.
Yeah.
Talked about your farm pond life. So you're looking forward to this fall walleyes.
Yep.
And then you just got into ice fishing like 2 years ago,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, last year was the first year I hit it hard, and I mean, oh man, I fell in love.
You got my FLA.
Yep.
You got
and it works great.
Does that coat work?
Yes. Yep.
'Cause I had a coat that I ordered, and because it was on sale, and I bought a large. Well, this thing was like a 2X, in what they called a large, but it was a float top. So I didn't want to get rid of it, and I knew he was getting into ice fishing.
Yep.
So I'm like, I got a deal for you.
Yep.
You buy this Vexlar for $250, whatever it was. I got a float coat. I got some rods. I got all kinds of shit.
Yep.
And I tried to set him up. So
Yeah, it's odd. And since then, man, I spent some money too. I mean, I got everything except a shack, and that's because Travis has got 2 shacks. He's got a double and a single. So.
hell yeah,
But yeah,
that's cool.
I need to get out on the river, but I am ready for a little bit of frozen
You
water
can go out with
too.
me and Butters. We have a good time when we go out fishing.
Yeah.
I got a 4 to 6 person, and I also have a 1 man. So
Yeah.
I'm geared up for whatever.
Yeah, I've got that new one I bought, and then I got my old standby 2-person too.
I do have to get a new fish finder though. So I sold my Vexlar at the end of the season last year. Yeah, I've done that the last 2 years actually.
Do you upgrade or you just?
So the first year I went with FL8.
Yeah.
Then I went with a 12. And then I got another 12 because I've sold 3 now. I use it and then I sell it right after the season. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
But this year I'm gonna dive in deep.
You going live scope?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, they're cool.
Before ice, I'll have one.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'll have one before ice as well. That's my now that I have this new job and the possibilities of making extra money. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna.
Yeah,
have
watching the videos of the live scope where you can see the fish coming straight up to your bait. Oh man, yeah.
Bauer's getting it to where he's getting pretty good on flathead with the live scope.
Yep.
Like he's getting the scenarios down where he can catch them on video and shit. He's gonna have some coming out that are.
That's awesome.
They're gonna.
Yeah.
I've been
That's
looking
cool.
forward to watching some content on that.
Yeah, they're gonna.
Because it's not. There's not very much flathead live scope content out there.
No,
at all.
because they're either stuck to the bottom where they're hard to see,
Right.
or they're deep in the cover where they're hard to see. But he's got a process. I'm not gonna give any of his crap away because he's been busting his ass on this system.
Oh yeah.
But he's got a process that has been turning out some good fish, and you're being able to see it on the live scope. So it's gonna be pretty cool when he comes out with it.
I think it's cool when you can use side imaging
Yeah. Pinpoint.
And you can see a fish, and then you cast, and you're like, oh, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, to see that with a flathead would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just looks like you're like, there's a flathead right there.
Yeah.
You just like kind of pause.
So I don't think once I do get one, I don't think I'll use it on the kayak.
No, that's heavy. I know Kit tried to rig his up, and pretty unsuccessful. It sounded like.
And I don't think it's because I don't want to know. You know, it'd be nice to know what's around me when I'm doing that. But I kind of like when you're on the river and you're fishing for flathead. I kind of like the unknown factor.
The mystery of it.
Yeah, like I'm gonna drop this bait down, and there might be one here, there might not.
And 9 times out of 10, there is one there.
Right.
Is he gonna eat?
Right.
That's the only.
And a live scope can't tell you that on the river. I mean,
they don't glow a different color if they're hungry.
Right.
Like a video game.
Right.
It'd be a lot cooler if they did.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it gives you a percentage of how hungry that fish is.
I think I'll go to the next spot.
Yeah. Oh, it's only 25% hungry. I think I'm gonna keep on moving.
These are all red fish. I'm looking for that one green fish.
Yeah, one that's all lit up.
Yep. Maybe someday.
That would be cool. It would definitely take the fun out of it.
Yeah.
It would be awesome for the first week.
I mean, it's the idea of seeing a flathead on a live scope come up and just crush your bait. That's cool.
Oh yeah.
Like that.
Yes.
That's cool to me.
Yes.
But
to be able to do it every single time,
you're not. It's gonna piss you off when a flathead comes up, looks at your bait, and then just
turns
try.
around.
Oh yeah. I mean you're gonna get there. You're gonna be experiencing more emotions, not having that technology and seeing it versus if you didn't have it and you're like, oh well, I'll just move down to the next spot.
Yeah, exactly. I cuss more at ice fishing because of my Vex.
Yep.
Eat it.
They could chase it up 15
Yep,
feet off the bottom, turn around and go.
Yep.
Like, why did you waste your energy?
And just the fact that they did that, it irritates you.
And you can tell, like you can tell on a Vexlar if the fish are being negative or they don't want to. Even just on a Vexlar, you can tell. And then when it's on a live scope, it's even worse because I'm like, there's times when I'm with Kit and I'll look back and I'm like, man, the fish are just being jerks right now. They don't. And
the worst thing about live scope is you can tell the size of the fish. You can kind of tell the species of the fish depending on angle. You're like, that walleye just didn't even give a shit. But this 3-inch bluegill, he's all about it.
Unless there's a bunch of shad around, then you can't tell what the hell's going on.
They're just in a pool of moving.
Yeah, then you don't know how big the fish is that hits.
Yeah.
That's fun, though.
Yeah. Yeah, they all have their good points, but like you said, I'm a man of mystery, too. I like to just throw it out there, and if I've earned it, it's coming. If I haven't, I'll be back next time.
So I'm kind of curious. So I've been experimenting a little bit, but in the flathead aspect, do you think braid is better than fluorocarbon, or
I hate braid.
You do hate braid?
I hate it.
Yeah.
It knots up on itself. You hit a rock and it frays.
Yep.
I hate braid. I don't know why. I can't get on the braid train, no matter how much I use it. The only time I use braid is when I'm bumping, which I've only done a couple times. But because mono doesn't have the sensitivity that you can feel the bottom like braid does.
Yep.
Other than that, screw braid. Hate it.
Yep. I'm an all braid guy right now, and that's because of how much I walleye fish, and which is away from the flathead. But
you need the sensitivity.
Yes, for the wall.
I get that.
And so that's where I took my braid was from walleye. So I put some braid on the flathead, and I just don't know how much I like it yet.
I hate it. I would say at least 75% of the flathead world use braid and braid only.
Yep.
I'm not one of those guys.
I'm that guy.
Yeah. Most people I talk to are that.
I run straight braid with a 1 to 1.5 foot mono leader.
Yep.
80 pound all day. And
yep.
I have 50 and 80 for leaders.
Yeah.
I use the 80 when I'm fishing.
More open
in structure.
Or your pound sunnies.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's funny you say that with the braid with the walleye. I actually use, this is crazy, but I actually use 6-pound Mr. Crappie line for walleye fishing, and it's mono. I don't use.
Really?
Yeah, I don't use braid for walleye fishing.
I'm a Berkeley guy, either the Trilene or the Pro Spec is what I got on my flathead rods. But I'm almost scared to vary companies because there's so many crap fishing lines.
Yeah,
There is.
There is.
that are just junk.
Yeah, there is.
So I stick with Berkeley.
Yeah.
Berkeley steers me right most of the time.
And I think the reason why I like using Mr. Crappie line is because it's high vis.
Yeah.
So if I don't feel the bite like you would on braid, because I see it, because I'll see my line jump.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. I feel mentally in my head, I feel like I do better with mono versus braid, because I've tried to use braid walleye fishing. I usually just get snagged, and I don't know if
Falls a little fast.
yeah, I don't know
something.
what the deal is with it, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't like braid. I really don't. Every time I've tried to use it, I've had issues.
Yeah.
Like it knotting up on itself, or
In the spool,
or
you mean,
in
or
school, or you pull it out of somewhere and it'll twist on itself and knot up. And
Yep.
It's just too thin diameter for my liking.
yeah,
I like Bauer uses 85-pound braid, and it's as big as 6-pound test. I
Yeah.
swear to God.
It is.
Where I'm used to 60 or 80-pound mono, frick, I could hang a cow with that. We'll be fine.
yeah. Even 50 pounds pretty thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. The amount you can put on your spool with braid is just insane compared to
Yes.
Right.
the 80-pound model.
Right.
And I went up a spool size versus guys who use braid because I need the line capacity.
Yep.
'Cause I use rope. So you just go up a spool size. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
And I do have a 50-pound mono on my ugly stick,
Yeah.
which
50's pretty solid
yeah.
range.
I hooked a monster on that rod, unfortunately.
Yeah?
Didn't turn out great.
No? What broke?
That time it was just the hook popped.
The hook pop?
Yep.
Too much pressure, too much drag
Yeah.
on me?
Yep.
That's what, when everybody says they miss a fish, I always want to know what failed. Because that's what I look at when I miss a fish. I'm like, okay, what can I prevent next time?
Was it the knot? Was it the swivel?
Yes.
Was it the line?
So
Because I rarely have line break.
I had a
Right.
hook. I had a hook get pulled. I had a swivel get busted.
That's what kills you.
Mhm.
When it's a manufacturer defect or something.
Yes.
On a product that you've used 100 times and been just fine, and then it pops.
Yeah. Well, the size of the fish, I'm sure, was pretty big.
Yeah.
But
But my swivels are like 325-pound rated. I mean, they're beefy.
this one.
And how
wasn't.
many fish do you catch on that swivel before you're like,
Right.
I should probably change it?
Yeah.
I retie every trip.
I do every guy trip.
Yep.
I don't necessarily use a different swivel, but I retie my leader every trip
New
for
knots.
sure.
Yep.
I'll look at my swivel and my beads, and I'll look at the knot. If I think it's okay to ride, I let it ride. But if there's even the smallest nick in my leader, I'm retying.
Yeah.
And every trip this year, I put new hooks on too, because
I'm the same way.
I watched a guy early in the season. He missed a bite, reeled it in. He was in a snag. He got
Yeah.
and then he reeled it in, and he said, "Oh, my bait's good." Looked at the hook, didn't feel the hook,
Yeah.
cast it back out. Well, he got hit,
Missed it.
had the fish on for like 15 seconds, and then gone. Well, hook wasn't sharp enough.
Yeah.
And I think I followed the braid more because I do a lot of fishing, but most of it's spontaneous. So like my fishing poles are in the back of my truck at all times. So they go through a lot of gravel, a lot of sun wear, a lot of that stuff. And I feel like the braid the sun don't break it down, the weather don't
I
break
would agree
break
with
it
the sun.
down and
Sun
anything
is-
like that.
Braid is much more sun UV
Yeah,
resistant.
and I mean driving on a lot of gravel and everything like that. I mean my reels go through a lot of agony because of that. You know, I go through a lot of reel oil, so. But that's why I went to the braid side, is because they're always in the back of my truck because I don't know. Oh, I got 2 hours. I'm gonna go
I
fishing.
got one thing I want to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna go fishing. So, and that's why I stayed with the braid, is because it holds its strength through weather and heat
does.
and everything.
I haven't had any issues with getting broken off at the braid. Everything's always been either at the hook or I've had the swivel pop, or not the swivel, the leader itself pop from the swivel.
Really?
Yeah. That's the three things I had on 3 big fish this year. Hook gone, swivel broken, and then leader completely popped from the swivel.
So is your knot or the actual leader?
I think once was the knot was bad.
Yeah.
The other time was my leader broke in half.
That's
Like
that's the one
split
thing.
in half.
You know, if a swivel breaks, there's probably nothing I did wrong.
No.
But when my knots give, that's what keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I could have prevented that.
Do you switch it up or do you use the same knot every time?
So
I snell my hooks and then I
Yep.
use an improved blood knot for every other knot.
yeah.
Yep.
That's what I do.
I didn't change my knot from my main line to my swivel. I still use the same knot, just basically your regular fisherman's knot. And then I no knot snell all my hooks.
Yep.
Which I just started doing that this year.
I also just started using the snell this year as well.
And I also went away from J hooks. I literally have only used triple threats from Whisker Chica this year.
The circle.
With that no knot cell and that circle hook, my hookup ratio has gone up to like 95%.
Yep.
My first guide trip this year, we lost 3 flathead because of user error. My second guide trip this year, we lost a good one. I saw the tail because of user error. So every guide trip will have a triple thread on the hook from now on.
Yep.
Every single one.
Were they J's?
Yeah.
Before?
Yeah, J's.
Yep.
Which
Yeah.
I'm not knocking J's.
If I fish by myself in cover, it will always be a J hook.
Yeah.
If I'm in the open, I'll leave the triple threats on.
Right.
But if I am by myself in the junk, it's going to be a J hook every time.
Right.
Because they don't have room to run.
Right. You want to be able to set the hook.
Run to set the triple threats.
Yeah.
But any guide trip I run or any open water I run, I'll have triple threats on from now until I die.
They're amazing hooks.
Yeah.
Amazing, and
They
they're
are.
super sharp out of the package.
Yeah.
I never thought about that, but being in cover and everything, you got to let them take those circle hooks.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. When
They
you're
don't-
not in cover, you just can't get the hookups because you can't let them run.
No, because either one, they're already home, so they suck the bait in and sit there.
Yeah.
Or 2, if they run, you're never getting them out.
No. No.
Yeah.
So no, I'm a huge J hook guy for my own personal use, but Tasler Guide Service will be having triple threats till
Yep.
they
Forever.
run out of triple threats.
Forever.
You get more
As soon
hookups.
as-
You get more hookups.
I bought it. I bought it for a little small box. It was like 20 something of them from Johnson Bait and Tackle.
Yeah.
And I still have like probably 15, 16 left in that little box.
Yeah, they have all kinds of assortments. Like there's one assortment.
It's like
that
$60
Goes
for-
clear from 4 aughts up to 10
Yeah.
aughts, and they give you a shitload of each kind. And so that's good for channel cat all the way up to your biggest baits for flathead or blues. But I have even gone as far as if we're fishing on a sandbar, I put lawn chairs out onto the sand. So my clients have to get into the boat and walk to the poles. So by then, that fish is already hooked.
Mhm.
They
Smart.
can't
Yeah.
screw it
Yeah,
up.
that's
Yep.
smart.
I
You leave
take-
the rod locked
I
in.
take the
Yep.
human error out of the equation.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm
It's
trying
very-
to be a better guy.
It's very easy though as an unexperienced angler or
You're
somebody
so
who hasn't.
excited.
Oh yeah, and you
Something
just want
thought
to.
about for months.
You think
and
you
it's
need to
happened.
wrench down on this fish and reel it in fast.
Yeah.
That's not the it's not the way it works.
No,
You got to let that fish do what it wants to do.
and it is. And I've been a coach for a long time. I've coached football, track, golf, baseball, wrestling, and coaching fishing is the exact same way. They're gonna hear about 4% of what you say because the adrenaline is going, and already in their mind they've thought about this situation, so they know what they're gonna do. And it just, I want to take human error out of the equation as much as possible. Triple threats do that.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
And it's crazy to me because last year I ran only J's.
Yeah.
The whole season. And then this year I did a complete 180. I ran a J at the beginning of the season, lost the fish, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to switch to triple threats.
Yeah. And I love J's just for my own feeling that rod load up and playing just having an arm wrestling match with them.
Yeah.
I love it. And I'll never get away from J's in my own personal use, but there's too much room for error. You gotta feel what the fish is doing, and inexperienced anglers can't do that effectively.
Yeah. I think out of all the fish hookups on flatheads this year, I think I only had one triple threat make it down to almost the gut.
Yeah, that's another great thing.
And the only reason it was that way is because the flathead hit it in shallow water, and he was just sitting. He like swam 2 feet in and was just sitting with it for however long.
So you didn't even know?
No, I didn't know he was on there. And then when he started to move, I set the hook right away.
Yeah.
He had already had it.
Oh, it was half digested by then.
Yeah. He had the greenie's tail was sticking out, and the hook was just barely piercing the top roof of his mouth.
Jesus.
He's like a 15-pounder.
Yeah. Was he delicious? Because I'd ate him.
I haven't kept one this year.
No?
I
haven't yet either.
I've caught 24 on rod and reel, and I've released every single one of them.
Yeah. And I haven't either because, just like I said, I haven't reeled in but 6 myself. You know, the rest of them have been on guide trips.
Yeah.
So
I tell you what, though, that next 10 to 15-pounder.
it's getting that time.
It's probably going to get the knife because there's nothing like a little flathead fish fry in early fall.
Yeah.
Catfish nuggets. There's
nothing better.
Flathead
nuggets are good.
Like I said, a 15-pounder,
good.
you can make 4 or 5 different meals out of it.
Yeah.
You can grill it one night. You can blacken it. You can, there's so many ways. Because flathead is just a delicious meat.
I could take that 15-pounder to my mom's and feed our family of 6 or 7 or 10.
And everybody's stuffed and telling you how amazing it was. Yes.
Yeah. It's
exactly
good
right.
stuff. Don't waste that belly meat.
No, hell no. Hell no.
It's good stuff.
It is.
So we've been cooking up a lot of catfish lately. Is it that whisker seeker batter? Is that the way to go?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It really
I haven't tried it yet, and I brought it up to Travis a little bit. And
Do you like spicy?
yeah, Cajun.
You'll like the Cajun.
Yeah.
I'll send it home with you because I got some bags saved up. But it's before, like you've eaten my fish for years.
Yeah.
Yep. Every year I have a family fish fry that we clean out the freezer before ice fishing starts again.
Yep.
And we just eat whatever I got. So it could be channel cat, walleye, crappie, bluegill, whatever it is. So I have this big family fish fry. And I used to take Louisiana blue bag, shore lunch, Parmesan cheese, and sometimes if I wanted a little kick into it, I'd do like thyme and stuff to give it a little more scent. But that's what I do, and everybody would love it. Now, I open up a bag of Whisker Seeker, I pour it in the frickin' Ziploc, and I shake it.
That's it.
And it's delicious. It's a cornmeal-based batter, so it's nice and crispy.
Yep.
I mean, it's not a thick batter. It coats really thin, more like a flour,
Yep.
but it crisps up because of the corn.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
awesome.
And I've never had better channel cat than farm pond channel cat.
Wait, have you cut them through the ice?
Wait till you catch them through the ice.
Yeah.
Oh, they are awesome.
Probably, in my mind, some of the best tasting fish I've ever had.
Yes.
Because they're so clean.
Oh man.
And
you
they're
get
coming right out of
nice,
that cold water.
Thick chunks of meat. You're not eating only breading. Like when I do a lot of crappie and bluegill, it's kind of unsatisfying because you taste the breading more than the fish.
Yeah.
Yep.
You get a nice chunk of channel cat, it's a fish fry. It tastes
I put cold water channel cat up with walleye.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's that good.
It is.
I think it's
I mean, it
very
definitely-
underrated, and I'm glad it is because there's an abundance of it out there for people.
Yeah.
So.
And it's so firm out of cold water versus when you catch them this time of year in the hot, stagnant water, the meat does mush up a little bit.
They smell.
Yeah.
They're smelly this time of year.
So, I mean, cold water cats are definitely the way to go, for
Yep.
I didn't realize how bad flatheads smell when they sit in the mud.
sure. Oh, yeah.
Holy
Depending
cow.
on what the mud holds.
Holy
Yep.
cow. There was one that my buddy pulled out, and he pulled it out, and I was like 5 feet away, and I could smell it. I'm like, holy crap.
We had one crap in Bauer's boat one time, and it about made me arf.
That
their
bad.
shit smelled so bad that I about hurled, and it was everywhere. It was like it had diarrhea, like it'd been out partying for 4 days straight.
Ugh.
You see nonstop shad.
Yeah.
It just shit.
That's the one you catch early in the night too, and
Yeah.
it just does that to
Yeah,
you.
so you got to smell it while you're trying to
Yep.
sleep.
It was horrible. I've never had one shit in the boat, and this one dumped like a half-pound of shit.
I haven't
all
even
over.
experienced that yet. I'm
Yeah.
kind of jealous that I haven't had a flathead poop on me yet.
Yep,
Yeah,
I
it was
haven't
bad.
either.
It was bad. All right, guys. Before the damn video shuts off again, let's wrap it up. The last cast.
You bet.
So, D, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
We tried to get a couple nailed down the road, but this, I don't know if I even introduced anybody.
No,
Yeah, I don't
that's
think
all right
so.
though.
This
Yeah.
is my nephew, Darrin Gordon.
Yep.
He's fished with me, pretty much his whole life.
Yep.
We get out, we have a good time. He used to demo derby with me a little bit. We've done some racing. He grew up around motorcycles, so he's got a
Yeah.
Harley. He's always had a dirt bike here and there.
Yep. Yeah, Ryan's the reason I love fishing. I mean, that's where it all started.
Yeah. I've tried to get you guys out as much as possible.
Yeah. It worked. It worked.
Now you got him ice fishing.
Hell
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I was glad to see him pick up ice fishing because around here, if you don't do something in the winter, you're gonna go stir crazy.
Yep.
Because there's nothing better than ice fishing because there's not shit else to do.
No. You sit there with a heater and drink beer and catch fish.
You can have the time
Oh,
of your life
man.
and just catch bluegills.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
it's all about the company, and of course, if you got some cold ones,
Yeah.
that always
Doesn't hurt.
helps.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt.
Especially after you drive to 5 lakes in one day or something.
Yeah, and that
you know?
last time I fished with you on the ice, you guys, they were so wore out by the time they got there. I'm glad that we got on some fish, but no, Butters, I've talked to you here and there online and stuff, but I haven't fished with you for a long time.
Been
so,
since the spring.
yeah.
We're gonna fix that though. We'll
We are.
get out here in a few weeks or so.
Like I said, I've got some September dates open, so I'm gonna head your way and we'll get the boat out,
Yeah.
or even on the bank. We'll hit one of those urban spots. Either way, but
Or we'll break the kayaks out.
yes.
Either way.
I was telling him I've been in my kayak once this year. One time.
It's only from that one sandbar. I think it's only like a 35-minute paddle in the morning.
Yeah.
So
Well, we can have 2 cars too. We can just go down the next ramp.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Down to the next ramp, it's
Yeah.
only 35 minutes.
So
So
that gives us a couple spots to hit on the way.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah, I'm in.
Or we can hit urban. I kind of
Yeah.
got them dialed in down there when they come back.
Yeah, I was gonna say the fall would be the next good time to hit down there.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I kind of have had some decent luck down there, or seen everybody else anyway. This urban fishing where you have 20 guys shoulder to shoulder, it's awesome in the fact of the number of fish that get produced that way every single year, but it's humbling in the fact that it could be every single other person but you.
Which that sucks when it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, you could see 5 flathead caught that night, and it could be everybody else around you, and you don't get a bite.
I'll be honest. Most of the time when I fished down there this year, there wasn't many people.
Really?
And if it got busy, I left. I went somewhere else because I noticed the nights that I did stay late, the more lines in the water, the more pressure, nobody was catching fish.
Really?
But if there was like 3-4 people down there,
And it
at
was
least
relatively quiet.
kids from the baseball games throwing rocks in the water and
Yeah.
stuff, and
Yeah.
you'd usually see 1 or 2 fish come out of the water, and
Yeah.
depending on who it was, it'd either go back in or it wouldn't.
Well, we're going.
All right,
We're going.
hopefully we can make her to the end here.
Yeah.
Third time's a charm.
Hell yes. But no, that urban spot that we've been talking about, the first time I was down there, it was me and Bauer and probably 10 other people, and the other people would kind of Some would filter in, some would filter out.
Yeah, it's a lot of shift changing going on down there. Yeah.
But it was probably 3:34 in the morning. It was me and Spencer in one area and like two other guys that came at like 1 o'clock. They didn't get there till like 1, and they were going to fish the rest of the night. And we nailed one. We got a good one. And those guys were on the phone, and there was 15 people back there by 2:30.
That doesn't shock me.
It was unbelievable.
That doesn't shock me.
I'm like, why don't you just shut up? You got a better chance to catch the fish.
No kidding.
15 of your buddies there. Because he made like 2 phone calls, and they must have each made 2 phone calls.
You tell one person, they're telling at least 3 people.
That place was shoulder to shoulder,
Yeah.
and it took 15 minutes. And they were there all fucking night. And I'm like, I just want to go home.
Mm-hmm.
We caught a fish. That's what we came here for. This should not be morning news.
No.
I mean, this is what we're here for, is catch fish, guys.
Yeah, I realize down there, if you catch a fish, you might as well just leave.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much your day down there. If you get 2, you had a damn good day down there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, 5 years ago, you could have 5 flathead night down there. But with all the harvesting that's happened, you know, after year after year, and the low water, because that attributes to it too.
God, the low water has been a killer.
It has been nuts. But before it shuts off again,
Last cast.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you guys. You got a last cast on you, Butters?
Yeah, just I don't know. I don't have a last cast per se. I just don't keep the trophies. That's all I'm gonna put out there for a last cast. Let a kid try and catch that 40 pounder or 40, 50 pounder. If it's a 43, put it back. Let it become a 46, and maybe an 8-year-old kid will catch it. And
maybe 5 years would be a 70.
Yeah, and maybe you'll catch, and maybe you'll catch that same fish.
I've never seen a 70. I want to see a 70. But no, thanks for coming, Butters.
I appreciate you having me.
No, it was
as
awesome,
always.
buddy. D?
Yeah, I ain't got much to say either. I'd say just tight lines to everybody, and that one last cast always is 15, so keep going.
Hell yes. All right, guys. I will see you next week with the video. We got a good one coming up, so stay tuned. Thank you.